And let's get started. So Carol is going to be reading the mission statement, and I'm going to make sure. There we go.
Welcome, everyone. Our mission, Helping Parents Heal, is a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting parents whose children have passed. Through support and resources offered, we aspire to help individuals become shining light parents, meaning a shift from a state of emotional heaviness to one of hopefulness and greater peace of mind. HPH goes a step beyond other groups by allowing the open discussion of spiritual experiences and afterlife evidence in a non-dogmatic way. HPH affiliate groups welcome everyone regardless of religious or non-religious background and encourage open dialogue. Attendance at this meeting is voluntary. We hope that participants will learn from and share with each other. Discussions here are confidential and not designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Helping Parents Heal offers a wide variety of speakers, allowing parents to learn about many possible ways to heal. This includes presenters covering progressive topics such as afterlife evidence and connecting with children who have passed. The views expressed by our guest speakers may or may not reflect the opinions of Helping Parents Heal leaders and members, so we ask that you take from their presentations whatever may benefit you personally.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So I am going to introduce my dear, dear friend, Reverend Sue. And I don't think that this is a very good angle, so I'll start recording myself. I'll hold it on my lap so it'll be easier.
No such thing as a bad angle for you.
Oh.
I think we can all agree on that.
But Reverend Sue, first of all, is a unity minister, which is pretty impressive because it took years for her to do that. So we are so excited about that. It happened just about a year ago. Is that right?
2022.
2 years ago then. And then second of all, she's going to be a keynote speaker at our conference, and she is just one of, and here's Christy coming in here as well.
Oh,
and Janine is here. Welcome, welcome. So anyway, I feel very grateful that she's doing this for us today at Unity. As you probably all know, because you've already heard her speak, she's an ordained Unity minister. She's a clairaudient. She does soul regression therapy. She's an angelic realm channel and a master numerologist. She channels messages and prayers from the angelic realm and receives wisdom from guides to help people heal grief and find purpose. She uses sacred numerology and mystical information in her books and teaching. Reverend Sue Frederick is the author of 11 books, including Bridges to Heaven, Through a Divine Lens, Practices to Quiet Your Ego and Align Your Soul, and the Sacred Numerology Workbook, which she has both of those books at the back today, which is wonderful. As a student of numerology since 1980, she brings a deeply enlightened perspective to using numbers as navigational guidance tools for deciphering the soul's journey. And her website is www.suefrederick.com. And without further ado, please join me in welcoming Reverend Sue Frederick. Welcome. I'm going to go ahead and just take the camera and put it on my lap so that people can see you better, because I can tell that that's not the case right now. Hi again.
Hi everybody, I'm so happy to be here. As many of you know, this, I believe Helping Parents Heal is the highest frequency group happening on the planet. And hopefully you all are coming to the conference in August, because the last one, the frequency was so off the charts, like it took me months to kind of get back to normal. I don't know what normal is, but in that amazing conference, we were all in the mystical. And the reason I'm talking about that today is I want to talk about our journey as humans here, from the cynical to the mystical, and why we want to be mystics. Mystics, we think, are these people who are different from us. We hear about it in religion growing up. for example, some of my favorite, when I was in ministry school, we talked about this amazing mystic from France in 1648 to 1717 named Jeanne Goyon, Madame Goyon. She was Catholic and she was a nun, and she taught that we can all talk to God. So what do you think the Catholics said about that? They imprisoned her in the Bastille. But she wrote a book on how to pray, and the book said, we don't pray, we listen. And the only way they finally let her out of the Bastille is she said, okay, I was wrong. So I'm just sharing this with you because there is a tendency in our human story to believe that only special people can connect to God. And I'm here to tell you, if you have been broken open by grief, you planned to get here and open up to your mystical self no matter what, and you used grief to break your heart wide open to help you do it. Not in a conscious way. Nobody ever plans this from the same human mind that we have to live it through. We plan through our soul, through the life plans we make with our loved ones, our departed people who leave this life early. They are part of our soul posse. And we all meet beforehand and we talk about how we each want to grow. We talk about how we want to help each other grow. And we make a plan and we jump in. And remember, when a child is born, they are completely in touch with God and mystical. And you know how you say, oh, hold this baby. It feels so amazing to hold a baby because they're so pure and their hearts are so ascended and connected to God. And that's the beginning of our human journey, completely enmeshed in our mysticism. And then we go to school or we go to church, or when we're older, we go to work. And what happens to us? We're told that we better be practical, behave, be logical, get a job, and forget all that crazy nonsense about seeing spirits and talking to God. That's not for you. You've got to make a living. And that's why I really wish we could figure out the financial thing on Earth and make it like some of the more advanced galaxies where it's not an economic-based society. Because at the end of the day, when I talk to clients, and I've worked with thousands of clients, and I say, you know, what is keeping you from your connection, from believing you can connect? So often the answer is because I work at a job that exhausts me and it drains my spirit and my soul and my heart, and I come home and all I can do is survive. Have any of you ever been in that kind of experience? Yeah. And then grief often comes along then and requires us to change. I know it did for me. I was 29 when my husband died. Long time ago, before any of you were born. It's true, it was in the 70s. And I was very practical back then. I mean, I had had a rough childhood, and I do believe that if we have pain in childhood, it also shuts us down. Because again, we just go into survival, right? I mean, I'm not gonna dream about God and spirits if I'm in a home situation that's painful and chaotic. I'm just going to figure out how to survive. And that's normal and that's fine. And then our soul had other plans. And so other things happened. And when my beautiful husband, Paul, crossed in my arms, I saw his soul leave. And I saw him that night, felt him in bed with me. And he has come back for 43 years to teach me how it really works, that we are all divine beings. We all come here on purpose to drop into the human journey for the purpose of growth and learning and to help each other grow and evolve. Consciousness is a constantly expanding and growing process, and we are all an integral part of it. You all have a piece of you that is so needed in this puzzle of humanity evolving. And I really want to talk about what a mystic is, because some of you are going to know that you're already there and you're already experiencing it. So I looked it up in Webster's, of course. What is a mystic? So I like this first one. This is from St. John of the Cross, a Spanish mystic of the 16th century. And he wrote, "A person who seeks by contemplation or self-surrender to obtain unity with God and the spiritual understanding of truths that are beyond the intellect." Now that is the catch, isn't it? Because when you go home and you tell people, oh, my child is talking to me, they'll say, there's no science behind that. Like, how many times have you guys heard that? It is so wrong. Of course, there's science behind it, but science takes forever to catch up with reality. Even though the quantum physicists have been teaching us for years, decades, everything is energy, including you, including the chair you're sitting on. We are all energy beings at our core. We are not solid. And so how could we possibly trust the human mind that comes along with the human body more than we trust the soul and the heart and our intuition, right? Isn't that crazy when you think about it? And so then we end up being schooled into how to be cynical. So here's another great definition of being mystical. A person who transcends ordinary human knowledge by direct communication with the divine and immediate intuition in a state of spiritual ecstasy. I love that, spiritual ecstasy, because what that means to me is I'm not going to worry about the traffic. I'm not going to worry about this or that. I'm going to shift my frequency. Only my heart can help me do that. I'm going to shift into gratitude. I'm going to shift into love, and suddenly my vibration is higher. And suddenly now I am not feeling cynical. I'm feeling completely lost in this spiritual ecstasy, where everywhere I go and everyone I talk to, I recognize is part of God, including me. That is mysticism. That is your mystic self, recognizing who you are. So my fifth definition of mysticism here is a helping parents heal parent who feels and acknowledges the presence of their beloved child. How many of you here are mystics? Raise those hands, people. So your journey from cynicism to mysticism has been accomplished, except there's a catch, right? There's always a catch. You're still in a human body. You're still having human emotions. So there are going to be days where you feel that connection is closed, or you even despair that you feel you can't feel the presence of your loved one, of your child. In my case, it's so many people in the divine, a husband, a best girlfriend, another best friend, my dad, that when I feel disconnected from that whole group of them, I know it's me. I know it's not them. And so our process of raising our frequency is so important. So how do we do that? Number one, question: do you seek the light in your moments of pain and darkness? Or do you let yourself hang out there a little bit? Because I know we do. We let ourselves hang out there a little bit. And I just want you to know there's nothing wrong with that. You're human. We're unfortunately human here. We still have the body. So we are going to get caught in these dense energy emotions. Everybody who talks about these concepts talks about how when you leave your body, and I've had several out-of-body experiences and shared death experiences, so I know this is true. When you leave your body, it is such a light, incredible frequency of love. It's not heavy. There's no sadness. There's no grief. You can even look at your own body suffering down there on earth, and you have no attachment to it. You're in the bliss. It's only when we squeeze back down into this heavy, dense realm that these heavy emotions of earth, of humanity, start weighing us down and doubting our mysticism, doubting that our spirits are still with us. This is the solution we've got to all come up with on a consistent basis, how to shift it. because we're in this together. And this is why I'm raving about the Helping Parents Heal group and the Helping Parents Heal conference. Because when you're in a conference with 900 people shifting into their mysticism, oh my God, right? Like everybody you run into in the hallway is connecting some way to their child. And I get chills talking about it. Where else on earth do you ever feel that happen? Nowhere. Getting emotional here, sorry. So the question is, how do you be human and mystical at the same time? Of course. And I say my final answer to it is, it's a day by day, breath by breath awakening. Which means today I might feel elevated and high frequency and in touch with all the beautiful spirits of your children. And tomorrow I might wake up with a headache and I feel terrible and I'm hating life, right? We are all gonna walk that continuum. So easiest shift is gratitude. We all know that. So every day I am grateful for the things that the world has called tragedies in my life. Because without those tragedies, a young husband dying of cancer, a best girlfriend dying right afterwards, all those things that, I mean, by the time I was 30, I had been labeled as like somebody who had had tragedies. Never do that to anybody, no matter what they go through. Those tragedies are their spiritual gifts. So I am blessed beyond reason with my tragedies, because every one of them has awakened me to my spirit self, my higher self. And that's the same for all of you. Now, not only did my beloved departed Chrissy, Paul, and my dad, they took me with them. They gave me a shared death experience. And I've talked about that a lot, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. But my favorite one to talk about is Chrissy, because I want people to understand how laughter is so important. It's part of the God frequency. And when you ever go to a religion or go anywhere and they tell you, oh, quit laughing, be serious, walk away. Because laughter is one of the highest frequency things we can ever experience. And if you have a friend or a family member who makes you laugh like that, embrace them, trust them, be with them whenever you can, because that frequency is the frequency of God. So my girlfriend Chrissy we'd grown up at Convent of Mercy together. I feel her every time I tell this story. So Chrissy, I continue to honor you. And we had been in trouble with the nuns since day one, because all we did was giggle. We'd go to church and giggle, and the nuns would even swat us sometimes. I mean, Chrissy, I couldn't stop laughing when I was around her. And she was brilliant. I mean, she was one of the first women accepted into Georgetown University in 1969. Brilliant and hysterically funny. What could be better than that? And so we always explored the meaning of life, and together we dreamed of leaving the South together and having incredible lives, and we both did. And then right after my husband Paul died in 1979, Chrissy came to see me in Colorado, and we went skiing, and she made me laugh for the first time. And she brought me back into that frequency of love. And even to the point where some friends thought she was rude because she was making jokes about Paul crossing over, and it was making me laugh like crazy. And some of my more serious friends were like, oh my God, do you believe she's saying that? You know, it's like, yes, Chrissy, make me laugh, that's fine. Like Chrissy was making fun of the fact that some spiritual movies talk about how you're stuck wearing whatever you wear when you die. And so we were laughing at Paul wearing a horrible hospital gown open in the back, you know, for all eternity. And so we were saying, boy, this is a reason my Southern mother was right when she said, you always got to look nice. You've got to look nice, because it could be your eternal outfit, according to the Lord. So Chrissy had that kind of humor. So then she left and went back to her life in California. And 4 months after Paul died, Chrissy was diagnosed with extremely aggressive leukemia. So after Paul died, I started to make that arc from angry and cynical into feeling Paul's presence, waking up to my divinity. And then Chrissy went into leukemia and suffering, and I just completely went into my negative self. That's what happens to us. How many of you have lost more than one loved one? And yes, and know how it keeps bringing you back to your pain. But I believe that's because you signed up for a double acceleration of your spiritual growth, not just one, but two or three, because you were so determined to learn and grow and expand and become the mystic you are meant to be here. So then Chrissy died, and I wasn't with her. I hadn't seen her for a few months. I thought she was in remission. And one night, all night, Chrissy was with me, and she was making me laugh so hard. I was laughing with my stomach muscles hurting the way she always did. And I'd wake up in the dream going, oh gosh, I'm with Chrissy. She's making me laugh so hard. And then I'd go back to sleep. And in the morning I woke up going, wow, I was with Chrissy all night. And I was like, oh no. And I called her mom, and her mom said that she had gone into a coma and crossed in the night. So what was Chrissy's gift to me? Showing me that even if you have suffering going on in your body, the minute you're free of it, and I do believe now that you get free of that body long before those final moments. I'm pretty positive of that. And Chrissy was already out dancing in the divine, making people laugh, flying people around to remember all the funny things you've shared with them. And if we are open to it, if we trust it, we are getting the greatest teachings that could be handed to us. That love and laughter are the frequencies of God. And that's it. There's no fear in the God world. There's no negativity in the God world. There is love and laughter. So let's bring that here whenever we can. And whether that means in your personal life, meditating more, praying more, doing whatever the things are that help you, and coming to groups like this, where your beliefs are confirmed and validated. Because how many of us have people in our lives who think we're crazy because we believe the way we do? I'm from the deep South, so you would not want to hear how my Southern lawyer brother talks about me. But that's, gotta love on him anyway. That's what I've learned. So, okay. So the other thing is that what is the real benefit for us if we claim our mystical self? So here's how I describe it. We go through our day in a constant dialogue with our loved ones in spirit. There's nothing better, right? And it causes us to relax into this dual reality where silly things like I'm driving and I want to get a good parking lot. Hey, Paul, can you help me out right now? You know, just asking your loved ones to step in funny little ways that let you know they're there. And that we are all, this whole room is filled with people who've had their departed loved ones come in the funniest little ways. I mean, we're not talking about lightning and thunder. We're talking about things like your child's name showing up on the license plate in front of you, right? Drive a random car driving in front of you. And we all have those stories. And I had a slide about one of my favorites, but I'll just talk about it. There's a mom who's part of Helping Parents Heal, and her name is Gail, and her departed son is Jake. And some of you have seen this thing that she took a picture of Jake's truck, but one day it was the angelversary of her departed son, and she went to the graveyard and she was really sad, and she was praying and crying and said, Jake, I know you're okay, but today I really need a sign, a strong sign from you. And then she got in her car and we got on the highway, and she said she was crying so hard she could hardly see, and this big truck pulled up in front of her, and she had to like back up and slow down. And then she looks and goes, on the back of that truck in huge letters, it says Jake. And then beneath it, transportation, Jake, transportation. And she said she suddenly realized, oh my God, I'm a lunatic. Look at this. This couldn't be any more strong and powerful. Have any of you ever seen a truck called a Jake truck? A huge, I mean, you just can't make that stuff up. And then recently, last summer, I was going through the anniversary of Paul's death. And what I want to say is it doesn't matter how much time has gone on. You're going to feel that portal of connection, especially strong at certain times of the year. So for Paul crossed in July. So July is always a more emotional month for me. And I don't label that bad, but I probably cry my way through every July, but I am a Pisces in my rising sign, so forgive me. I cry at the drop of a hat. But in July, I was having a lot of crying moments here, and it's not sad. I wasn't asking Paul to come back or take me with him. I was just feeling those emotions that still stay with us, and you know they do, and they're okay. So I was feeling all that, and I bought something at a store and came out. The license plate in front of me, and I have a picture of it too, says Paul and Sue forever. I mean, I've never seen a license plate like that before. And also at that same time in July, I walked into a store with my beautiful husband, Gene, and the symbol that Paul and I had always used to represent our love, the crescent moon and the star in the middle, was right front and center of the doorway, a piece of artwork. And even Jean, like we walked in and Jean was like, oh my God, that is your sign, that's from Paul. And the store lady was like, why are you crying over this side? Like, I was like, oh my God, I have this is so beautiful. And so I brought it home and it hangs over my fireplace. You all have had so many of those gifts from your departed. And I believe consciousness is shifting our veil now so that the heaviness of earth is getting lighter and lighter and lighter, and that we can feel more consistently the presence of spirit, of God, of our guides, of our angelic beings guiding us. That is what other people might call ascension or shifting from 3D to 5D. It's all this process we're in right now that's kind of painful. You can almost think of it as labor, giving birth. But we are shifting collectively to that higher awareness that there is no death, that we are all sacred, divine beings who come here to help each other, to learn, to grow. This is a mystical world the minute we open to it, completely mystical. And it's not the dark and scary place that our human mind wants to tell us that it is. And only you can make that shift for yourself. When you feel yourself in the fear or the negativity, you can just do the simple gratitude. What am I grateful for in this moment? Okay, I'm grateful. Well, I'm grateful that I found Helping Parents Heal, the best group of people I've ever known. And I'm grateful that my husband moved us here to Arizona and healed himself miraculously from cancer. Thank you, Jean. I mean, I have so many things to be grateful for, and all of you do. So that's a shifter that will never let you down. You can be grateful for your cat. I have the most beloved cats. So I wanted to go to one last thing. 3 things to help you be more mystical. Number 1, stop talking and listen. Now I'm guilty, I talk a lot, I'm a talker, but when I stop talking and I go into my meditation and I start listening and I do automatic writing, I am back in the sacred right away. And that's what we have to do, because this culture, this world we're in, makes us watch TV, have small talk conversations with people, keep busy at all costs, because we're afraid to turn in and remember who we are. And yet once we do, it is that, right, everything's gonna be okay. Everything is in mystical divine order. And I trust that. Step number 2, accept that you do not know everything. This is a big one for us because we get taught that our left brain logic mind has all the answers, science has all the answers, and so anything that comes from emotion or with emotion can't possibly be true, right? Let's all just say we're going to become learners as if we were in elementary school again. And if we hear of somebody giving a talk on metaphysics or mediumship or soul regression therapy or all these amazing things you might never have considered looking into before you lost a loved one, take the class. Go sit in those conversations. Even if your cynical self is going, oh, this is really crazy stuff, stay in it, listen, and think about it. The third step is write, meditate, and seek higher knowledge. And you know higher knowledge is something that raises your frequency. It's not like going on the dark web and watching the political end of the world stuff happening. That's not your higher knowledge. Your higher knowledge is opening your heart and saying, I know, I trust, I feel, I am absolutely sure that I'm a divine being who came here on purpose like everyone else. And we are all helping humanity evolve. And so that shifts our hearts. I'm going to close with a prayer that I once channeled in for helping parents heal, because it was a really good channeled in prayer. So please close your eyes and just be with me in this moment of prayer. Oh, beloved spirits, all of the departed who cherish us, whom we cherish, we call on you with open hearts, with quiet minds, with complete assurance that you are here to help us, to love us, to heal us. And so we rest easy in the night, trusting that you will carry us in our dreams, that you will carry us to sacred places, that you will show us your physical self in those visions so that we recognize you, feel you, touch you, smell you, and know that there is no death, and that you carry our departed, you, my departed, carry our sacred agreement, our relationship to help us wake up here. And there is nothing we have to do here except trust. And so it is. And that is your job, trust. Thank you so much.
So, Sue, are you going to be doing the readings?
So we have a few random numerology readings here. Do I have all the cards, Carol, of people? Carol, do I have all the cards?
Yes. This is very exciting. You guys aren't excited yet. You're going to be excited when you hear the first one. So,
Thank you, sweetheart.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Oh, I'm not supposed to look at them, but I am going to look at two of them that I was handed because I love these people and you all know these people. So, and this isn't fair because I've done a reading for them before, but it is a great example of how numerology can help us know who we are and what we came to do and be. So Ernie, stand up, Ernie. Many of you know him, beautiful soul. Ernie is the author, what's the name of your book?
Quentin's Messages and Quentin's Legacy.
and he's a board member.
And he's a board member,
Yes.
and he and his wife, Christine, are two of the most beautiful souls, and if you ever hear him speak and tell his story, it'll blow your
He will be
mind.
doing it at the conference on
Awesome.
forgiveness. Yes. So we'll hear him.
So the birth path that Ernie chose for this life is called the Sagittarius 8 path. Now you all know that number 8 is the most powerful number, I believe, of all numbers. And it is all about power. It's about how am I using my power in the world? Am I going to be abusive with it and go to the negative with it? Or am I going to use it to enlighten myself and help others feel empowered? Sagittarius 8th path, Ernie, you have mastered your beautiful journey. Devastated by grief over the loss of your son, you found your way to explore the mystical. And now you help so many people with that 8th path energy, which means more powerful than most people when they walk in a room. And we honor that in you completely. And if you know about his life before this happened, you also know he was a powerful businessman then, but very, how would you describe it?
In my head.
In your head, okay, that's a good way to put it.
In my way.
Right, like you had the answers, nothing here needed to be learned, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times when people are strong and smart and competent, they start to believe, okay, I got it all figured out, you know.
Mm.
And part of the beautiful story of Ernie is that on the family vacation where his child departed, he had done everything to make sure that nothing bad would happen to his family. Every safety precaution on this road trip, every getting out and tightening down this and making sure that's okay, as a sense that he had a sense that something was going to happen. And he thought, just like we all think here on earth, oh, well, I'll take charge of that. I'll make sure nothing bad happens. And then, of course, his beautiful son ascends. So that is the great shattering and the great stepping into, whoa, we're not in control. It is a mystical journey of awakening. And he's in a 4 personal year, a year of hard work. We'll have to talk about what that means for you. And then he's in 2nd Saturn return. So I told you guys before, this is the time when you really step up and step out in the world more than ever, because you're being called up. And then we have his beautiful wife, Christine, who is an extraordinary, beautiful, loving soul. And I'm very prejudiced because she's on my favorite path, the 22. So what a power couple, a 22 master soul Leo with a Sagittarius 8th path. And when you get to know them, you see how beautifully both of them have stepped up through all of their losses and pain to be some of the great teachers that we have on earth. Well done, and you're in a 1 personal year. It's going to be easier and better than the last few years. All right, those are the 2 cheating ones because I love them so much. But they give you a great understanding of how it works. So I'm just going to shuffle. Okay, Joanne. Who is Joanne? Oh, that's you. Perfect. Joanne is a friend of Lisa's, and I think she's new to this group, right?
Fairly,
Yeah.
Into a few.
So Joanne, your path is called, let me make sure I got it right. 6. Did you add it? Did you? Oh, there it is. I knew it. So it's not just a regular 6, it's a 33-6, Joanne. Because you tricked me because you wrote it kind of in a different way here to get to that 33. But you are the Gemini 33 Master Soul. Joanne, 33 is the highest frequency path a soul can come in on.
Huh?
Yep. And she's going, what, me? But you've also got a Gemini sun sign, which makes you go into your head and think a lot and be brilliant. I'm sure you're very good at your career or your work because of that smart mind. But your soul and your journey here is all about the 33 mystical. 33 is the most mystical number. It's believed that Jesus Christ took that path here to teach compassion. So you're also in a 5 personal year, a year of change. So, I'm sorry, I gotta have water. So Joanne, does any of this resonate with you? Are you in a place in your journey where you're shifting your beliefs, or are you grieving?
Yeah.
Both?
Yeah,
Yeah.
more.
Well, we welcome you and love you, and Gemini mind will try to talk you into the logic part of it, but your heart is of 33. So you are, in a few years, going to be writing your book and telling your story.
And what is that number? Okay.
Sorry, you guys, hold on.
So it's 33. It's one of the most evolved numbers. How did she come? How did
She's stunned.
she find it?
I am. We'll talk later, don't worry. So
Very exciting.
it's really cool. Gosh, I'm sorry, you guys, I don't have a cold and I'm not sick. I have a heart issue here that sometimes
Oh, that's great.
makes me,
Cough drops. Oh, you are such a sweetheart. Thank you so much.
okay, so Danny, I promised Danny, because Danny is a really grieving guy, as we all know.
See if we can see.
And the amazing thing about him is he showed up to our first Helping Parents Heal meeting, 2 weeks after his home birth? So that takes extraordinary courage to say, I'm gonna find an answer to why this happened, and to just walk into a group like this. We honor you. And you're a Virgo 8 path. Ernie, get to know Danny. Because the way Ernie shows up in the world is similar to you in many ways. You both come in looking very strong, very powerful, very composed, and in you is the need to find answers. And then when you find those answers, to use them to help others. So we honor you for this path, and also you're in a 3 personal year. So you're right where you should be, connecting with community. 3 is the energy of connection, conversation, community. This is gonna help you heal. I'm sorry. All right, one more, and then I'm gonna go stop being so annoying with my cough here.
This is so exciting. We
So
love it.
Charles, who is Charles? Oh wait, I think I know who Charles is.
Yes, of course.
We all
Charles.
love Charles.
Can I come back with you, Charles? Just to, oops, did I knock that over? I'm sorry. So here's Charles.
The Scorpio 22, the 22 shows up 2 out of the 3 ways you've had it, Master Soul Path. We're on a theme here today. So the Scorpio 22, and then you're in a 3 personal year. So the Scorpio 22 means you came in for an intense life on every level, and to be very charismatic and powerful and intelligent, and to use your intelligence and charisma to dig beyond the surface to understand life, and then to shift into that 22. I know enough of your story. You were in World War II, correct?
Yes.
And you told me a little bit about it, but it was phenomenal, the way, all the things you went through back then. And then you found your way through that, and you've lost a child, is that correct?
Yes,
And how long ago did that happen? 10 years.
about 10 years ago,
And your beautiful wife, who I love.
and she's also lost a child.
Right. So what a beautiful partnership for awakening between the 22 Master Soul, and do you remember your path number?
I don't, it's there.
Remind me.
Sandra.
Linda?
Sandra.
Sandra.
Oh. So this Pisces 6, oh gosh. The Pisces and Scorpio, you guys, that's true love. I mean, you won the lottery of relationships that you have the Pisces and the Scorpio sun signs. Those are 2 incredible water signs for pure soul connection. Also, pure soul connection to the divine for both of you. And then you come together to help each other, comfort each other. And you, Sandra, are in a 5 personal year, lots of change, but all along this life has been, you're the Pisces 6 path. 6 is about finding compassion, healing the heart, healing others, being a healer of some kind, or a teacher, and about always knowing that the answer to the truth comes from the heart and not the mind. That's a beautiful gift of a Pisces 6. Now, Charles had a little harder time getting out of the head because the head made him successful for so long, but he's such a powerful master soul. We want you to outlive all of us, Charles, and to be talking to us all the time about the other side once you do cross, to come back and give us so many signs that we're annoyed. Oh, that's Charles again. So, any questions?
Oh, I think everybody has questions, yes.
Before I step down, I just wanted to say, does anybody have a question about
Yes.
any of this?
Sure,
Yes.
the numbers, I thought I had it nailed, but then when you came up with 33, I figured it wasn't a birth date.
Ah,
And so,
right.
how do you get the number and how do you get the personal year?
So I have a Sacred Numerology workbook back there. And also my website, SueFrederick.com. You can go to my soul path calculator on the homepage and you input your date of birth, and then it tells you what your path is. So quick summary, because that question is important. Pythagoras created our number system in 580 BC, but he also was a mystic. And he had a school for enlightenment. And he taught that numbers were not just quantity, they were also energy. And so he developed that whole system. And after my husband Paul died, numerology was the thing that saved my life. It answered all my hard questions about why it happened. Where did he go? Why am I still here? So that's why I love numerology. It's one of those ways we move from cynicism to mysticism. Okay, I think we're good. And I
Oh.
want to thank everybody so
Any other
much.
questions? Margaret has a
Oh,
question.
Margaret.
Yes. I was just looking at the calculator. Can you explain like what the number, just in each, it says stacked and single and personal year, and then there's like 2 numbers?
There's the 3 ways you add the birth date, which is my take on numerology, because there's so much hidden that you don't realize unless you add the birthday 3 different ways. So that's why I say stacked, linear, the other way. And those all should come to the same single digit at the end. And what is yours?
I don't know.
She's, I don't have the glasses on, an eight path.
Boy, we have such an 8 theme going on here today.
Her name's Heather. She filled out, I know she filled out a
Okay.
And by the way, there are numerology workbooks at the back that are just wonderful. They give a lot more information.
So Heather,
Okay.
stand up, Heather, because you are such a beautiful example of a Libra 8. Stand up. Libra is the energy of beauty. Look at this woman. And 8 is the number of power, beauty and power. That's what you represent, Heather. And you are in a transition, as I'm sure you know, and you are moving into the decade of your life next year that will have that second Saturn return big shift coming. But in the meantime, think of it this way. In this life, you came to learn the right use of power. And it's not just about empowering people to feel good about themselves physically, but also spiritually and emotionally. What do you do for a living? I'm curious.
I'm recruiting, so I help people get jobs.
So you
Basically.
empower people to find meaningful work.
Yeah.
Right on
but
path.
I'm transitioning. So.
Are you trying to change it?
Well, no, I'm just trying to figure out how to use that now in a different way. So I'm leaving corporate. And
Oh, yeah, we gotta get you out of corporate.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, thank you so much.
Oh,
Isn't that
gosh,
wonderful?
this has been wonderful. Wait. I'm coming up. Actually, I need to first I'm going to turn off the recording. Thank you all for being with us. I'm so glad that you were today. Take care. Bye, everyone.